Hello there, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're safe and well. In this video we're going to be reviewing my Air Arms S400 rifle. Roll the titles.
This is my rifle. There are many like it, but this one is mine.
Now, if you've seen any of my other videos, you will have seen this rifle a few times. It features heavily in a lot of the videos that I've made, for the simple reason being that I think that this is probably one of the best entry-level PCPs that you can buy. And I say entry-level, but I don't mean that it's beginners only, because personally I think that you're going to be shooting for a long time before this rifle becomes the limiting factor of your progress or the limiting factor of your accuracy. So what we're going to do then is we're going to look at the features on this rifle. We're going to talk about the pros and cons, and then we're going to take it out on the range and see how it shoots. Let's go. So this model then is the Air Arms S400 Classic, which is the rifle version, which is the longer version. They also do a carbine, which is slightly shorter. We'll talk about that in a minute. So let's go through the features then. Starting at the end, you can see we've got a rubberized butt pad that's fixed. Noticed here that previous owners tried to make an adjustable cheek piece, but to be honest the gun doesn't need it, which is why I've got it back wound for as far down as it will go. Then we've got the traditional bolt action, dovetail rail for your scope mounts, the barrel and steel cylinder down to the end, screw cap for your refill. There's a barrel band there, and we've got the Q-Tech silencer on the end. This rifle is in the beach stock, but there are different variations available. Twist the rifle over then again, and you'll see underneath we've got the metal trigger guard with a hole so you can adjust the trigger. It's a two-stage trigger, you can adjust both stages. Then we've got the cylinder pressure gauge, and there's the bolt for attaching the stock to the action. Let's take a look at the specs then. So on my list I've got, I should point out that this is the rifle or the classic version. They do a carbine that is shorter, so we'll put both specs up so you can see the difference. But for this rifle then, the barrel is 493.5 millimeters long. The rifle length is 1020 millimeters. Maximum fill pressure 190 bars. Cylinder 216 cc's, which from my testing is good for 100 shots. Basically you shoot the rifle down to around 110 bars before the power starts to drop off, which gives you 100 shots. And the weight with the scope in this setup that I've got is 3.4 kilograms. In comparison then, the carbine, the barrel's 395 millimeters long, which means the length of the rifle is shorter at 925 millimeters. The cylinder is only 156 cc, which is 28% smaller, so you're going to get around 70 shots. Okay, let's have a look at the pros and the cons then. We're going to start with the cons then. From my perspective, the main thing that I've found, particularly, I mean it's not an issue when target shooting off the bench, but when you're in the woods shooting HFT, the overall length of this rifle, I mean, it is very long. It won't fit in my BSA bag. I have to put it with the with a moderator on because it's so long. I haven't tried the carbine, so I don't know how much difference that is. But I just found that the overall length, particularly that you've got, you know, the floating barrel, it was very easy to knock the barrel with this moderator, and so you just have to be aware when you're moving around in the woods. One thing that I did to counteract that is I got a bespoke moderator. Talk about what in a minute, another because one of the other cons on this is it's very loud. If you shoot it without a moderator, it is a fair old crack to it, so it's not necessarily garden friendly unless you're using a moderator. So what I did is I got this moderator made, bespoke moderator. I got it made by one of the members of the airgun forums, airgunforums.co.uk. There's a few members on there that manufacture items. If you need anything like butt pads and moderators made bespoke, then recommend you go and check that out. I will put a link down in the description in case you want to check that one out. So comparing this then to, let's take the Q-Tech silencer off. Comparing the two, you can see I made this up to my spec and I've saved just over 2 inches on the length of the rifle, which made a big difference. And in actual fact, when I did sound tests, this shorter moderator, because I think it's a little bit thicker than the Q-Tech, is actually quieter than the Air Arms Q-Tech. So that's reduced the overall length of the rifle, makes it a little bit more manageable when you're in the woods. So that's the first one. Secondly, linked to the moderator, if you notice, if I lift the rifle up on the end, you've got a spigot, so it uses a slip-on moderator rather than a 1/2 inch UNF. So you're a little bit more limited in what moderator you can put on there. So I put that down in my list of cons. What have I got? Okay, yeah, the action. It's a traditional bolt action rifle, and to be honest, it's a little bit clunky. You have to be quite forceful with it and pull directly back to get it to lock in, to lock the action. If you're used to a side lever, then this can be a bit difficult getting used to. Also, when it clicks down, it still flops around a little there. There's not a definite lock-in click when it's cocked, so you can catch that, you know, quite easily if you're not careful. So I'm not greatly fond of that. What else have we got? Yeah. Let's pick the gun up again. I find that, I mean, I haven't exactly got sausage fingers, but I find when I'm trying to put the pellet in the loading tray there, that at times, if you're not careful, you put the pellet in and the pellet will flip over and it'll be back to front, and then you've got to muck around trying to flip the pellet over. So unless you're careful, you know, I guess you could quite easily load a pellet the wrong way around if you're not looking at what you're doing. So you need to be very positive and deliberate when you're loading a pellet into the tray there. Trying to be as honest as possible with the things. I mean, once you get, it's like anything else, once you get used to it, if you're aware of that and you take your time, it isn't an issue, but I think it's worth saying. The final piece I've got here is to do with the Filler Pro. Now, it comes with Air Arm's own Filler Pro, which is sort of like this T-bar system, where you have a T-bar on the end and it goes in the slot and twists, so it can't come off. The problem with this is that I found is that when you unscrew, you have got a nice screw-on cover that keeps the dust out, But when you unscrew that and you're trying to get that off, you've got to be very, very careful that you don't scratch the end of your barrel or clonk it onto your moderator when getting it off. So what I went for is I put this Best Fittings Fosner connection, quick connector conversion kit on, which was it's very easy to do. You just unscrew the T-bar fitting and fit that. So I actually prefer this to this because your fitting goes straight on. There's less chance of you catching the barrel and scratching the barrel or scratching the moderator. Another small point, but I think, you know, trying to be as transparent as possible and explain why I've done what I've done with this rifle. Last but not least, it is quite a thin barrel, and the barrel, this gun performs at its best when the barrel is fully floating. So one thing that you need to make sure of is that you've got a gap all the way around on the barrel band. Now, I wouldn't advocate taking the barrel band off completely, because if you do catch that, it's going to help prevent any sort of serious bend to the barrel. But one of the things that you must do is, if you look at the end underneath the barrel, you can see that there's a gap there between the bottom of the barrel band and the O-ring, to show that the barrel is perfectly floating. I found when I was using a different stock on this rifle that the stock was pushing the cylinder up against the barrel, so the barrel was resting on the bottom of the barrel band, and I was having accuracy problems in that every time I shot the rifle trying to zero it, my 0 point was slightly different. As soon as that was pointed out to me, and I sorted that out so that it's perfectly floating, then the consistency and the accuracy of this gun was great. So if you've got one of these and you're having a problem with your point of impact wandering around, and you're finding that you're having problems zeroing it, then I would check the barrel band out, because that's going to be the first port of call that's causing you an issue. So that's all the cons then. What have I got with the pros? Well, the consistency of the rifle, really. You know, once it's doing what it does it really well. I did an earlier video where I was showing you how to find the sweet spot of your rifle, and I did the figures. I used this rifle. What I'll do is I will put the figures up now, and we'll talk through the consistency of this rifle without a regulator. I want to show you this then. This is a table that I created as a result of the video that I did finding the sweet spot, the link to which will be in the description and also at the top of the screen if you want to go and have a look at that. But you can see here we've got 10 shots, which shows an average energy of 769.5, which is 11.1 foot-pounds, which is a spread of 8.6 feet per second, which is pretty good. Anything around 10 to 15 feet per second spread is pretty good. And then the standard deviation, which is by how much these figures depart from the average, 2.7 is really small, which means that the high and low values, the higher and the lower values, don't go that far away from the average. They're all pretty consistent. So you can see it's a very consistent rifle without a regulator. Doesn't need a regulator, in my opinion. Works perfectly well. A spread of 8.6. No need to get a reg on this rifle. If you've got one of these that's unregulated, you really do not need to fit a regulator. It's a very good, consistent rifle. So that's one pro. Second pro is the weight. I mean, I said it was what, 3.4 kilos with the scope on. If you're carrying this around, it's great. It's easy. It's easy to take hunting with a sling. Don't really notice you're carrying it. It's easy to carry around in the woods for HFT. Nice light gun, not a problem. Basically, it's a one-stop shop for a PCP. This, I mean, I've plinked with this. I've target shot with it. I've shot it in HFT competition, and I've also hunted with it, and I've had quite good results hunting. Plenty of rabbits, one shot, headshot, you know, lights out, no problem. Shot rabbits up to, confidently shot rabbits up to 50 yards with this and had no issues with it at all. And as I say, competed with it HFT. I originally bought it because I wanted a gun that my grandson could shoot alongside me in HFT comps when I was shooting my Springer. But as it turns out, so impressed with the gun that I've actually used it a lot myself, you know, say for HFT competitions and for hunting. Well, one of the things as well with this is that they're easy to pick up in the second-hand market and very cheap, good value for the price for what you get. So you know, I would recommend it as a good starter gun. It's the sort of rifle that you'll find that it's going to take you a long time to grow out of, depending on what you do. You're going to have to shoot for quite a long time, particularly if you're a beginner, before this becomes a limitation of your performance. You know, the gun is really good. We see all these new hot ships that come in at over £1,000 with all the tactical stocks or whatever, but I mean, this rifle still available from the manufacturer, and it's only still available because it's stood the test of time and it's a good product. The final thing that I want to do on the pros is just talk about how you can sort of change the look of the gun and change the stock. So one thing with these air arms rifles is the 400 series and the 500 series, they all fit the same stocks. So if you wanted to put a different stock on, or a target stock, Air Arms even sell their S510 tactical stock, that you can buy the stock so you can turn this into a tactical looking gun as well. And it is just so easy. All you need is a 5mm Allen key. So we're going to change the stock on this. Basically, stick your Allen key in the hole at the bottom, and as you see, you don't have to have that done too tight. Take lift the action out, throw away your old stock, and basically stick it in a fancy new skirt. So what we're going to do is stick the stock in there, just lift that up, stick the bolt back in, tighten it up with the Allen key, and there we have a fancy new stock on it. Turn it into quite a nice target rifle with an adjustable butt. I've got my thumb up position, and so many of these guns around, which means that there's also plenty of aftermarket stuff around. This was a bespoke stock that somebody got made that then put it up for sale that I bought, and this is the stock that I put on it that I use for when I've used the gun for HFT. So all manner of different shapes and sizes of stocks that you can buy. You can buy thumb hole, the thumb over, thumb round, all sorts of different things, and as I say, tactical stocks, whatever you want. So that's got to be a good con as well, hasn't it? Oh, sorry, not a good con, a good pro. Get me head around it. So yeah, definitely a pro for this gun. The fact that you can basically put a different stock on it so quickly and easily, and you know, and use a stock that's specifically designed for your particular flavour of shooting. So that's all the bits and pieces. I guess now it's time to take it outside and do some shooting.
Here we are then, going to shoot some HFT targets. Shooting out the doorway of the conservatory so I can get 40 yards. I've set up all of the supposed most difficult shots in HFT. So I've got a 15mm target at 25 yards, a 20mm target at 30 yards and a 25mm target at 40 yards. Using the S400 with the Hawk Vantage scope. Scope's at 10 times magnification and it's rifle zeroed at 25 yards and the focus is set to 25 yards, and I'm using Air Arms Diablo 8.4 177 pellets straight from the tin. There we go, 3 shots, 3 targets. It's a good rifle. Let's do some target shooting. Here we are then, on the edge of the lawn, 35 yards, same setup, 10 shots, same pellets straight out the tin. You might hear a bit of wind and blusteriness or whatever. I've got a wind indicator down the bottom there, and it's actually flapping around like anything, so what could possibly go wrong? But we'll see how we go. You can't have perfect conditions all the time, can you? It's the UK after all. Okay. I should say it's 0 to 25. I'm putting my crosshairs on the bullseye, so we're shooting for a grouping, so the group is going to drop low, so it's going to keep my aim point clear, hopefully. Oh, that one went a bit astray. Yep, wind's taking those a bit, the same place. It's definitely having an effect. Yep, but the point of impact drop is pretty consistent, as you can see. That's the last one. So let's go and grab the target and have a look at the results. Let's look at the target then. Remember, this was 35 yards and we were shooting for a group. Quite clearly you can see, I think they were the first 2 shots, must have been shot during a lull in the wind, because the other 8 shots were all taken out to the left by the wind. So we've got quite a nice group there if you ignore those 2 shots. But even so, if you look, the pellet drop's the same, so it's only the wind. They're only moving sort of from right to left, so it's only the wind that's taking them. If I move that rule around and we get a centre to centre measurement, there you go. You can see there, look, in that group of 8, centre to centre is about 10 mil. So, and this shot is, you know, a little bit out from the main group. If we take that one, 10mm, 8 shots, 10mm group at 35 yards. Well, that's not bad for, you know, that's pretty good going. I'm happy with that. Okay. So, we've looked over the rifle, we've seen what it can do. So, let's go and take a look at what sort of price you can pick these up for then. Here we are on the Air Arms website then, and under the products I've selected the S4 Sporter series. So you can see that there's the 4 rifles in the range. You've got the S400 carbine, which is the single shot carbine. You can see that the cylinder's a lot shorter than the S400 rifle. And then you've got the 410, which has got the magazine. That's the word I'm looking for. Excuse me, it's my age. Yeah, magazine. So I think on the 177, I think it's a 10-shot magazine. And you can see some variations in the stocks that are available on there as well. So let's look at the price for a new one, and I'm going to use Pelpax as an example. I've checked another couple of sites actually, and they're all near enough the same price. You'll notice here that they're saying that all of the Air Arms air guns come with a 3-year manufacturer's warranty, which is great. And you'll see for a brand new one, 649. Okay, so if we're going to buy one second hand like mine, what we're looking at. So going on to Gun Trader, this is today, the date of making the video, what's available. So you see here we've got a 22 caliber S400 at 295 second hand. That's a trade seller. Another 22 S400 375. Another trade seller. Private seller here, 380. Another private seller here, another 22. Oh, that 380, that was a 177. We've got a 22 here at 400. Another 22 at 435. And we've got a 177 S400 carbine at 450. Private seller. Oh, I think that's probably a little bit high. So so they're around. I would suggest that you're probably looking at around 300, 350
for a good one. Best thing to do is to go down to your local club, ask around, or even get onto the airgun forums that have got the sales section. I know some of them you've got to be a member for a while before you can access it, but it's worth doing if you want to you know, pick up a reliable gun at a good price. So there we go then. That's what you're going to be looking to pay for an Air Arms S400 rifle. What a day. Well, I've just had to rush and bring everything inside from the garden because it's just decided to absolutely pour down. So we've had sunshine, wind and rain. Not the best day for shooting outside, but we've got it done. So there you have it then. Air Arms S400, what a cracking gun. If you can find the right one, it's an absolute bargain. If you can find one like I did. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, then you know what to do. This is the first review that I've done on this channel. If you want to see some more reviews, I've got some more rifles that I can review as a long-term user, and also scopes, that sort of thing. If you'd like to see some more reviews, then please let me know in the comments and I'll get them done. In the meantime, thanks for watching and see you next time.